all come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's
puertas.
a wild ride in the wilderness.
When invisibility indoors changes.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we are going to have some random talks and we're going to talk some trivia. But first, a word from our sponsors, Brian Lewis.
You always set me up so good, Mikhailo. I never know how to react. Yeah, here I am, just here to please ask you to share with a friend and leave a review for the show. It helps us out, and we're always looking to grow. So let's do that. I wanted to just take time to catch up, Mikhailo.
Yeah. I think that would be good. Just with kind of everything that's going on, my summer is starting to wind down, so I'm happy that I'll actually have some time to myself and not have to teach all of these things and go to all of these gigs. I can really focus and hone in on Disney.
There you go. Well, and speaking of, I mean, you're heading out on a quick trip here in a couple of weeks, aren't you?
Yeah, it's pretty much like 2 weeks. We're going to Disney World. We're going basically for a weekend trip. We're adding in a couple of weekdays in there, but the main reason, it's funny, the way that this trip came about was we were like, oh, we really want to go to Food and Wine this year. And then we were like, it'd be really cool to just like really quickly go down there and like just go to Epcot for Food and Wine. And like, that's our whole trip. And we started looking at dates and everything and hotel rooms, which the hotel that we're staying at, we're actually staying off property. And we're staying at some like really janky, like cheap hotel. But we're not there. We're barely going to be spending any time in the hotel. So like the hotel didn't have to be nice for us. But yeah, it started out just as like a, let's go to Food and Wine this year. And then it turned into, oh, like the flight dates from this date to this date are super cheap, very reasonable. So let's actually go from this date to this date. And we added in a couple weekdays. And then we were like, oh, there's a Halloween party on the first day that we get there and we would have time. So we might as well go to, and now it's like basically turned into like a full blown trip. Only, in the plans, I don't think we're going to Animal Kingdom. I think that's the only park that we're not going to on this trip. But yeah, it very quickly turned into a full-blown Disney trip when it was only supposed to be just a weekend Epcot getaway. So,
and it was interesting. We were talking to you, I don't know, on a random evening quite a while ago now, because this has been in the works for a while. But we were talking, and Kristen, I think, mentioned that Ron on the Go is going to be at the Halloween party that night if you were to go. And you were like, I'm booking it right now. I don't care. We're going. Like, you were like, Ron's going to be there. I'm going.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to be able to go say hey to Ron. So that should be fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, I'm looking forward to doing a trip report with you on that, so we can hear all about it and everything that you get to do. So make sure you take lots of videos and pictures and notes so that we can cover all that.
Of course. Yeah, I was actually trying just the other night, because we are staying at a really crappy hotel. I mean, we'll find out, but it seems it's very cheap and it's off Disney property. So I was actually looking at what like All Stars rates were and like other, because it's hard to not stay on Disney property. Like that's always kind of like when you're having a Disney trip, that's like another really great part of like your Disney trip is showing up to your hotel. And we're going to show up to like a motel. So yeah, but I was looking on there and just everything is more expensive than we wanted to wanted to spend on this quick little trip. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to go. I'm excited to kind of like see what it's like staying off property. I've stayed off property before, but it was really kind of like pseudo on property because I was right next to Disney Springs. We are renting a car. We're using some app where you rent somebody else's car. So they basically like come drop the car off, and then you take the car and you use the car for like how many days you're renting it for, and then you go give it back. So that's
a friend of mine.
that'll be interesting.
A friend of mine recently did that, and had really good luck with it. They ended up getting a Tesla.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, with us, we've been threatening to move down to Disney for a while now, and this will be a good little like test to see like what it's like actually parking and like actually using that like the
TTC
Disney parking lots and everything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to kind of like do all that because we're so used to leaving the parks all tired and just getting on a bus and getting taken to our hotel, whereas now we're gonna have to get to the parking lot, walk to our car, get into our car, actually drive back to the hotel that we're staying at. So it's gonna feel different, and I'm not super thrilled about that part, but it'll be interesting to kind of see like how that goes and how like if we like doing it like that, because I mean if we're okay with that, then we could take more of these like impromptu like short trips, but I have a feeling that we're gonna like staying at Disney hotels more.
I mean, they're always they're always really nice. I don't want to say much better than off property because there are some nicer hotels out there, but it's always nice being on property. And one thing I wanted to talk about was that we are doing a trip together, right? We're going to meet up with you guys while you are on your big trip in December. Just Tammy and I. And, there are people out there that would say you're going to Disney without kids. And and yes, we are actually going to go and have a couples trip. And I think that is going to be a lot of fun because there's a lot of things that you can do without kids, right? Mm-hmm. So we're planning to do California Grill. We're planning to go to Trader Sam's. Like, you don't want to go to these places and be drinking up a storm with your kids. I mean, that's kind of Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to doing that as well because there's so many things that we're going to be able to do that I don't normally do while I'm there because we have our kids with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we had I think one of the main reasons we were like really gung ho to do this was that when we went to Disneyland and we like every so often we would join up with you guys, like you guys really get it, like you guys, and even we do the parks differently, like 100%. But you guys like kind of like understand the parks real well, and like we're able to have that dialogue of like, oh, do you want to go do this? Like, what if we go do this? And it was real easy to just kind of like as a pack, like follow you guys around and not feel like we were like missing out on anything or like not like doing things that we like typically wouldn't do or like something weird. And so that I think we'll be able to gel really well. Even though like, and we're with this quick trip, I think we are going to try to like be a little bit more chill, even though like we have less days than normal. But maybe being on this couples trip, like you guys will really be able to show us how to like really kind of like slow down and chill and like really kind of take everything in. That's one of the things that I'm really excited about to do with you guys is just kind of like go chill places.
And it's interesting that you say that because when we were in Disneyland, we spent a lot of time going, oh no, we forgot this. Oh no, we we need to be over here, or like we we came home, and I've expressed a lot of these regrets since that trip, but um we came home, and there's things, and I watch Disneyland videos, and there's things that I'm like, oh, I missed that, or I didn't get to do that, or something like that. Um, but in the moment, I was really trying to take my time, whereas Tammy wanted to do everything as quickly as possible, like we have always done. And I was just trying to, I mean, we had 4 days in those parks, and I figured that was plenty. And it was. We hit everything that we needed to hit. And the things that I go, oh, we didn't get to do that is maybe, like we didn't get Tiki Room. That's kind of a big one to me. We didn't get in there to actually watch it, but um
Tisk tisk.
I know, right? But like it's these little things like, oh, I didn't get a breakfast chimichanga, or I didn't get into this store over by Blue Bayou. It was like just little things like that. It's not like this big deal.
Oh, you didn't? You didn't go in that store?
The new Tiana store next to Blue Bayou, I didn't get in there.
Maybe that's we definitely went into there's that store that's like right there. It's like technically the Pirates gift shop. We went in there. I don't think
I think we walked through there. But there was another one, a brand new one that they just opened. That's all Tiana themed that we didn't get into. So
maybe I remember kind of shopping that area with Kristen. Kristen got a really cool. It's starting to get chilly. Kristen got a really cool like quarter zip pullover there of Pirates of the Caribbean. So we definitely went in there, but I don't remember. I don't specifically remember going into the Tiana place.
Yeah. So those are some of the things, but like I said, like that last day we were hanging out by the Emporium, and I was just kind of like chilling. We were waiting for the 100th cavalcade to come, and just chatting with you and Kristen and Tatiana, and Tammy's going, why are we wasting all this time just sitting here? And I'm like, and that was one of those times it was like, we're just taking our time. And what Tammy has said recently was with the trip in December, we were talking about how to handle Epcot, how to handle a party, and things that we want to do, and what we might want to accomplish when we get there. And I asked about Epcot, and she said, honestly, I just want to chill, walk around World Showcase, and eat cookies. And she's referring to the cookie stroll, right? So I think, being that it's a quick trip for us for Christmas, we're going to be packing in a lot of stuff, but we still have that mindset of just taking our time. And like I was asking about Disney Springs, because we're going to go to Disney Springs that Saturday, and what we want to do. And she's like, I want to have a drink at the hangar bar. Like,
yes,
like things that we just relax and do, and not run around and shop and find this thing and find that. Like, she just wants to take her time as well. So, like you saying, like, we understand the parks. I don't know about that. Like, I like the way you say we get it. Like, I never think of it that way. I always think like I'm just trying to think of the next step, so that, because a lot of times when we come off a ride, the family looks at me and says, what's next? Where are we headed? So for me, I'm always trying to think that next step ahead. And so it's like, there were many times at Disneyland that I just go, I don't know. What do you want to do? And then we would use the information we had and decide where to go. But we had the time. We had 4 days in those two parks, right? Whereas this time it's, and this is what I try to tell people. Like, people say, oh, it's going to be so busy, or, oh, we couldn't do all this stuff. And it's like, it's really a battle of managing expectations, because if everyone goes in expecting to ride this, that, the other thing, and that's all you get done for the day, you've had a successful day. If you're expecting to get, those 3 rides and then you get 3 more on top of it. Oh my gosh, I didn't even feel the crowd. You've done a great job. You need to do our trips for us every time, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's just managing those expectations can really help with your park day. And that's what I tell everybody. So,
It's funny. I wanted to go back and hit one thing that you talked about was Disney Springs, and there's lots of things that we've never done at Disney Springs. Morimoto, we've never eaten there. We've never been to the Hangar Bar. Something that we recently wanted to do was we wanted to eat Homecoming, and I wanted to get one of those. Um, was it like a moonshine drink, and then like just keep getting it refilled throughout the day? Like that sounds amazing. Um,
I've wanted to do
but I
that
feel
too.
like yeah, I feel like now at this point though, like there's definitely like certain things that like when we go to places like Disney Springs, like we have to do. Like we like for some reason when Kristen and I go, we always have to hit up that like co-op place
Yeah.
because there's always like really cool like kitschy things there
They,
that like you can't really find anywhere
it's
else.
almost like their test market. They'll put things there, yeah, that they're trying to figure out if people would like.
Yeah. That's definitely always a must. Like, I mean, World of Disney, of course, but it's like other than that, like everything else is kind of like we could take it or we could leave it.
Mhm.
So, I think that's like when we go, that's kind of what I want to do is like hit the things that like we typically want to hit, but then like go do some things or like maybe hang out somewhere that we've never done before, and just kind of like chill and like not have to like bounce from thing to thing. And I don't even really think we typically do that anymore. We used to, like, especially like when I used to go with like my brother and my sister, like we would bounce from like place to place all the way down until we were at Cirque du Soleil. Um, and so that's the thing is that like we've done all of that, like we've done it before. And I think that's kind of like the mindset that we're starting to get more now too, is like because when we go to Epcot for this uh trip coming up, like I don't think we need to like hit every single ride. Like I think I told Kristen, I was like, if we don't do Ratatouille, like I'm not gonna be sad. Or like if we like there was definitely certain rides I want to hit, like Living with the Land. If we don't do Soren, like I will be perfectly okay with that. Test Track, yeah, like let's like we can skip Test Track. Um but yeah, like it's gotten to the point where like unless we're there for like a longer trip and like we want to make sure that we like hit all the things that we want to hit, like that's like a different type of trip. But I don't know, I think we're gonna test to see if we can just slow like go, because who knows, like we may talk all of this and say like, oh, we're gonna be slower, like we don't have to ride and then we may get there and just like have to go
Right.
because that's how we know how to do the parks. But especially for the November December trip, I think that honestly that sounds amazing. It's just like doing that cookie stroll and like hanging out back in World Showcase, and like that sounds like a like honestly anytime I go to Epcot, if I could just hang out back in World Showcase, like I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, me too. Some of my favorite memories are just stopping and sitting and taking in the atmosphere.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
It's hard to do that though at times because there really is a sense of time is money when you're at Disney. Like I've spent all this money, I need to suck everything out of it that I can, and
That's why you buy an annual pass.
well, yeah, I mean that is part of it, but this gets into another thing I wanted to discuss, and that's like there are a lot of deals dropping right now for Disney, and it's almost alarming what they're doing, because it's Fast and Furious what's coming out. Like just last week they dropped a discount from now until the end of March where you can get up to 30% off of a room, and it depends on what hotel you stay at. It's anywhere from 15 to 30%, and the dates that you're there, but you can save a lot of money right now going there. And I think it's really signaling that the bookings that they're looking for in the hotels are not there. Um, it's interesting as I talk this through. I had a conversation with a coworker today because another one that's coming soon, they announced it, but it's not starting until November 14th, the ability to book it. And that is that any kids on your plan will be 50% off. Now you have to book a room with not discounted tickets and the dining plan, but then the kids are half price. However many kids you have on your room. So I mean, I don't know how that savings looks for families. That's just another option. And that one is booking starting November 14th for dates between March 3rd and June. That covers spring break in there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. So that tells me that, and I think what's happening is that they're not getting the bookings in their hotels. You know, the parks are still kind of busy. When you watch streams and you pay attention to the crowds, like it's still seeming busy. So I'm wondering if people are saying it's not worth staying on property now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder what those reasons are. Is it the money? Is it because there's no Magical Express, so there's no reason to do it anymore? I don't know. It's just some interesting thoughts there. But lots of really good deals going on right now, like lots of really good deals. So back to that coworker, I was saying, he's planning a trip in 2025, and I said it might be worth moving up a year. And he's got littler kids, so it's going to be hard for them to really determine if it's worth it because their youngest would be just about a year old at that point. So anyway, my thing to him was that people did all this revenge travel recently, right? We had 2022 and 2023, which was all revenge travel. And the idea at Disney is that it takes the average customer 2 to 3 years to save up for their next trip. And so you figure that out, like, okay, so everyone had all this pent up travel energy and they just expended it. And now they're all saving. All of those people are on the same clock again. Like, there's no, like, it's not all spread out like it used to be before COVID.
Yeah.
Right. So those 2 to 3 year people, if it's showing as soft for next year right now, then I'm looking at 25 as being busy and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not going to get these deals in 2025 is how I'm looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, is that, they're offering so many deals right now. Maybe now's the time. Don't tell anybody this. It's in between you and me, because I don't want a ton of people there, but maybe right now is the time to go if you can afford it.
Yeah, now is the time. Now is the best time.
I would agree. I mean, I don't think that last week of March is a good time to travel because I was looking at doing it and now I'm going in February instead. But,
Yeah.
Like there may be reasons to move up your travel plans.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's always been hard because for me, I don't really ever look at those deals and say like, "Oh, like I have to plan a trip around these deals." Most of the time it's just kind of like, "Oh, this deal is happening. We'll take advantage of that." And I'm also not the type of person who, I mean, and I don't have a giant family, so like I don't have to like save up for 2 years and then go on a trip. So we're lucky we can take these like spur of the moment trips. But yeah, it's interesting to see that Disney's doing it. I've heard from several people that like if Disney doesn't have to, they don't do
No,
discounts.
no, and they're
So
not.
seeing that they are, and a lot, and actually Brian and I were talking at one point, and you were talking about all of these crazy discounts that are happening, and then I went on to um, look at these discounts, and there's even an annual pass holder 35% discount, and that made me think like, oh, huh. But when you're saying like maybe they're not getting the occupancy that they're looking for, they're getting it at the budget hotels, because I was like, oh, I could use this 35 on like sports and get like a pretty decent rate. No, like none of the budget uh hotels are in there for these deals. It's a lot of like the deluxe resorts, um almost exclusively for these deals. So
Right.
that's interesting to me.
And they are offering it at the smaller ones. You just have to find the right dates.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of those will sell quickly because they won't offer too many, because again, it's going back to that money thing. Um, you know, and they had this happen last year too, where people were showing up and they were, or a few days before they would arrive, they were getting pixie dusted, as we like to say,
Mhm.
and being bumped up to a moderate or bumped up to a deluxe even, because they
Mhm.
couldn't get anybody there. So they were taking these people and moving them up at the same rate that they're already paying, so they could create more inventory at the lower level.
Mhm.
And so we might even see that happening again. It'll be interesting to see if we start hearing stories of that. It's going to take a little while. October is a very busy time for Disney. December is a pretty good busy time. Obviously, the week after Christmas is, but maybe after the holidays, we'll get in there and it'll be we'll start seeing people being bumped up and upgraded, as they like to say.
Yeah, and if anybody has a foolproof plan of how to get pixie dusted, please let me know. My email is mikhailo.v.naherniak@gmail.com. And uh, I I try so hard to get pixie dusted, and it never happens. Um, there was at one point I actually called Disney and I was like, "Hey, this is our honeymoon. Like, is there honeymoon things that you guys can like do to the room or anything like that?" And the person on the phone was like, "Oh yeah, I'll put a note in, and they'll leave something in the room for you." And it never happened. Um, Although we were staying at like sports, so I don't know if they actually do stuff like that at sports. Um, but yeah, it's um that's always been a dream of mine, is for them to be like, "Oh, by the way, we're bumping you to Grand Californian. Here you go." Or Grand
Well, and I
Floridian,
think,
Grand Californian.
yeah. Wait, I have to go across the country.
I have
Um,
to go. We're going to Disneyland now.
um, I and maybe you're trying too hard. Maybe they're seeing through it. I don't know, but
Probably.
I mean, I don't ever expect anything. I have gotten a few things here and there, but I don't ever expect it, and I don't ever work at it, because then it's more fun when you do get it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, really? So like when we went camping at Fort Wilderness, we did the early check-in as we were driving down and told them what time we would be there, and they weren't sending us our site number. They weren't sending us a site number. Finally pull in, get up to the gate, and um, tell them who we are, and the lady gets on the phone and comes back, well, how about an upgrade? And it's like, oh, okay. So for whatever reason, the site on the level that we had paid for wasn't ready, or they didn't have one available, or something happened, right? So we couldn't go to that spot, but they gave us another one that got us closer to the pool and closer to the movie and stuff like that. So it was nice to have that. Like they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna upgrade you. You get sewer with your campsite now, and like I don't have sewer on my camper, so it didn't make any difference. But I was like, oh great. But then as we got into the site and started realizing where we were, it was a nice upgrade that we had a better location. So
Nice.
it's just I don't expect that kind of stuff either. It's like the little things that I really get excited over. Cast members handed Mia and some friends of ours girls some stuffed animals one day when we were in the contemporary. Here, you guys want these? Like that was awesome. It's those little things like that I get excited about, and that's the stuff that I'll tell people about. But you can't expect it. And this is not for you. This is for anyone listening. I always try to say this. Don't expect the magic, because then it won't happen. But if you're not expecting it, you might end up with a free Mickey pretzel.
And one of the, not the most magical, but like one of the like the little things that I've had happen to me, which like this wasn't they were just doing their job and it was just me getting excited about mundane things. But when we went to movies, when Kristen and I went to movies, I didn't even we didn't even say like what section we wanted to stay in, but I wanted to stay in the Mighty Ducks section because I love that section, and we ended up staying in the Mighty Ducks section. So it's just like little things like that like get me all excited about Disney and like the things that they can do. So that's, I mean, I love all that stuff. Like I love Disney. So like if oh, by the way, you're staying at a Disney hotel tonight. Oh, yay. Like I'm excited about that just in general. So
yeah. So it'll be an exciting trip. It'll be fun. Hey, we wanted to do some trivia. We haven't done trivia in a while.
yeah.
I have some trivia questions for you. Again,
Bring it on.
I like to use the old Wonderful World of Disney trivia game. I am just going to pick one card at random, and we are going to go down those 5 questions and see how you do.
Great. Let's do it.
All right. One random card. All right. I don't even know what this category is. It's under the category of A, the letter A.
A.
Belle from the animated feature Beauty and the Beast makes a cameo appearance in what later Disney animated feature?
Do you have options?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking at the answer. I had no idea. I didn't even know they were doing
really?
things like this back then. Yeah.
I want to say like Aladdin, but those were like so close together. I know that. What?
I was gonna say, think a little bit later than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because I know that in the Little Mermaid, they stuck like Mickey and Goofy and Minnie in like the crowd at one point, so that was cool.
We talked about this movie on the air. And as you do all old movies, you called it weird.
I called it weird.
Yeah.
Was it like Treasure Planet or something?
No, I mean you're in that right time period. It wasn't long after Beauty and the Beast.
Hunchback.
Yes, it is Hunchback.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was in there, but yes, Hunchback.
Yeah.
So under the category of F, in Tron, you're not going to get this, are you? I'm not a Tron guy. What young computer genius is sentenced to die on the video game grid? Flynn, Winton, Clark, or Smith?
Was it Winton? It was either Winton or Flynn.
Do you want to make an actual guess, or is that your best answer?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Flynn.
It is Flynn. Yes.
Boom.
I watched that movie as a kid, but I can't remember anything of it. And it was late one night and I turned it on and I got maybe 20 minutes into it and fell asleep. I don't remember anything. And I just remember it being like, it was one of those. Do you remember, like, have you ever watched those older movies where it's like, there's no real introduction. They just kind of jump into the storyline, right?
Yes. And I think it's funny. The last time we talked about this movie, I think I brought that up where it was just like, here's the movie. We're going.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what's going on, but you're going to figure it out.
Yeah. Because I remember going, did I miss something? I rewound it a little bit. No, that's
I think it's because movies nowadays really smack you over the head with their like epilogue or whatever that's called, where they're just like this is what's happening. This is the main character. This is the bad guy. Like this is they're just like, now go.
yeah.
So
The epilogue would be at the end. You're thinking prologue.
prologue, yes, correct.
You're welcome. According to the Pocahontas song, this is category S for song. According to the Pocahontas song, the Virginia Company, what year is it? 1607, 1611, or 1616?
Could you say those numbers again?
1607, 1611, or 1616?
Virginia Company. I think the 07.
That is correct, sir.
Wow!
1607 is how they have it written out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Category P. Lady Tremaine is the evil stepmother of what character? Every single listener is screaming at their phone, tablet, radio device right now.
Was this Cinderella?
Yes, this was Cinderella. I would like you to write into our podcast and let me know if we should keep Mikhailo around.
Hey, I got it right. I didn't know it. Well, I didn't know it right away, but yeah.
All right. The last one under category of M. I think this is
For Mickey.
Mickey, yes, the category of Mickey. Which is going to make this question really weird. I think it's more miscellaneous, not Mickey. What was the shortest Disney animated feature? Saludos Amigos or Dumbo?
Saludos Amigos?
Was that a question?
No, it's my final answer.
You are correct. It was Saludos Amigos at only 42 minutes. Dumbo was 64. I don't really like, I mean, this one is kind of on the edge. I don't like the number questions that much because it's like, you know.
I know, yeah.
But this one's kind of the shortest animated feature. You know, so that's kind of cool that now we know that answer.
I don't think is Saludos Amigos, is that Three Caballeros?
It is the precursor.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It is the movie that came out of the trip that Walt took.
Yeah.
And I'm having trouble with the name right now. The El Grupo. That's it. Yes, that trip.
Yep.
Saludos Amigos came out of it, and also Three Caballeros came a little bit later. So, yeah. I would not have gotten any of these. I think
you would have.
Okay, I would have gotten Lady Tremaine for sure. The other four, I wouldn't have known it, right? I think you guessed correctly on a few of these.
I wouldn't have known it right.
So, but your guesses gave you, I think, all five. You got all five after hinting and prodding and poking and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
well done, Sir Mikhailo. Well done.
Thank you, Sir Lewis.
So we'd love to have you come out and talk to us out on Facebook, Instagram. We are at Miles from Main Street. Or if you want to call into the voicemail line, it is on our website, www.milesfrommainsT.com. And if you click on the little microphone in the bottom right corner, you can leave us a voicemail. I would love to have your trivia questions. I would love to hear what you think of these deals. I want to know what you think is the best way to do a trip at Disney World. We'll use the best ones on the show. I also wanted to mention, I should have brought this up sooner, Mikhailo. We're putting together the Miles from Main Street Halloween Movie Madness Tournament. It's going to start on October 10th. That would be today, if you're listening to this on drop day. So on October 10th, we are starting on Instagram in our stories a tournament. So go there, vote for your movie. It'll last for 8 days. And once we're done with the tournament, we will talk about the results. I will be posting the results as we go, but it'll be 8 days straight, and the winner will be done at the end of those 8 days. So you'll see it progressing, and we will do a show at the end talking about it. So we'd love to have your interaction out there. Help us find what the best Halloween movie is. In the meantime, we have a post in our community group. Come on out on Facebook and let us know what movies we should include. What do you think, Mikhailo? That sound good?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this Halloween movie.
The Miles from Main Street Halloween Movie Madness. You like that?
Halloween Movie Madness. But that's all we got for you guys today. But like we always say, some live close,
but others don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.